Hello everyone, welcome to Mediation Beyond COVID.
We have a microphone, it's a little bit echoey. You okay if you just project your voices? Yes. Everyone here?
Yep. We've got stage voices.
We used to do talking.
It's free to sit down.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Mediation Beyond COVID launch here in this meeting in January. It has been all about this today for you, hasn't it, Sarah?
6 o'clock in the morning, I started. It's been a long day.
I never had an interview this morning, so we're going to touch on a few of those things. As much as we're talking about a serious topic, and we are also having fun doing it, so the message is out there for everyone. Before we kick off, hands up who's in the book that's here.
Me too.
Awesome, that's awesome.
I'm pretty excited. So we've got Megan here, we've got Shree here, who has flown all the way from Melbourne to join us today. And we've got me on the camera, yay! And Trent was going to come and he's got caught up in court, I believe. And Chris, who's the other author, is in New Zealand. So hi Chris, if you're joining us in New Zealand.
Everybody's watching. Hello to all the authors online. So let's get talking about this book and the why behind this book, because as someone who loves and adores getting stories out to the world, every single book that we launch has a story around it. The why, the reason for it coming to life, the seed, that seed.
Yeah.
So what was that seed for you, Sarah?
Okay, so a few of you have heard this story, but many of you may not. During COVID, we all were impacted in really different ways. Some of us lost family members, some of us couldn't see family members, some people had business stresses. So there's been a lot of stress. As the mediation profession, we were suddenly faced with a situation where we couldn't do those face-to-face mediations anymore. And a little group of us decided that we would reach out to each other and just have that conversation. So we set up a Zoom group, and it was some mediators from New Zealand, a couple of us from Australia, and we just caught up once a week during the height of COVID, and we talked about what we were dealing with. We laughed, we had a drink of gin or two, sometimes three, and we just shared the stories of, hey, this is really hard, what are we trying to do? Or, hey, this didn't work so well, have you got any suggestions? We talked about our lives and the messiness of life that we're all struggling with, and it was this sense of community. What I got from it a lot, but I also started to think was how privileged I was to have this little group of people to share stories and to be supported by. And wouldn't it be wonderful if I could help others get a taste of that? Because conflict is hard work and we don't talk about it. And I wanted to find a way to share this information that we as mediators have access to, have learned to, and make it useful to everyone else. And to give people a bit of confidence that conflict happens in COVID, conflict happens in every part of our lives, and with a few little tips you can survive it. And really that's what this book is. It's a book of stories of mediators, yes, a book of stories from lawyers, from HR professionals, from CEOs, from marketing and branding, from IT experts. We've got 20 authors from 10 countries across the world sharing their stories to help others.
Yeah. Huge kudos to you for putting off this vision. I have watched it from the seeding of an idea. We got to work and recover, and Jim Butler quickly came into the equation. But as we were talking, yes, we laugh and we joke about the gin aspect on it to lighten the content, which is wonderful. But we brought in some really funny anecdotes into the book to lighten the content as well. And even the scenario that we shared, because conflict can be confrontational, but when managed, the way that you manage conflict was just with love and intention to get the best result for all parties involved. It's amazing what happens. Yeah, so we talked about it.
Okay, look, I was once told that nobody wants to hear about conflict. Don't go and speak about it. Don't go and do it. Just do your mediation work. And I kind of thought, if we don't talk about these hard things, how will we help people to find their way through it? And so I took a breath and found some courage and started talking. And there's other mediators in this room who I know and I look up to because they're doing that work too of making it accessible. And we're doing that with a sense of humour. I think that we can't just stay in the messy and the heaviness of conflict because that's staying in the conflict itself. It's when we can find those moments of innovation or hope or opportunity, that's when change happens. And that's the innovation and that's the creativity. And so having a laugh or adding some diagrams, some little doodles in it, thanks to me, some little images that just bring a little lightness to these stories. We've got case studies. I got our authors to think about, tell me one story that made you laugh or made you cry and share that story. One of the ones that stands out for me was Chris, your step doing some HR work. And in the height of conflict and the misinformation that was out there, one of her, in one of the organisations, somebody decided that it would be safe to climb a tree, sit in the tree and provide a service to their clients where they sat on a couch underneath the tree. And so Chris was having to negotiate with that person and the lawyer about, hey, I don't know if this is really a great outcome and how might we find a way through this. So, you know, like in hindsight, I'm going, oh my gosh, what are they doing? But in the heat of it, it wasn't particularly funny. Hayden, who I know is online, told me a story today about the trials and tribulations. Hands up who's seen the cat image of the lawyer from the US who couldn't get the cat face off? Yeah. I love that. That was a great highlight for me. But Hayden tells me this cat walked across his screen, and he's part of one of the biggest law firms in the world. He's based in New Zealand, and this cat walked across his screen in front of him, turned around to Hayden, rubbed noses with Hayden, but the back end of the cat was pointed right at the camera to his boss in the UK. You know, like, take that. It's those moments we have to laugh, otherwise we cry at. And so it is about letting everyone know that how it happens. It can be difficult. Shit happens. You know, like, let's have a laugh. Let's not be overwhelmed by it. And let's keep focused forward.
Awesome. Amazing. As you can see, Sarah is an epic speaker. I love listening to Sarah. She always gets the message across so beautifully. Let's talk about the process of pulling this book together, because it's not as if you got everybody into a room or locked in their rooms. You got them on Zoom, where it all began, and you interviewed everybody with the same set of questions. And yes, indeed, like I said, Sarah, don't let anybody deviate off the questions. Good. You know, to move your shame. But you did so well in extracting what you wanted to do with everybody, because you knew everybody personally, you knew their strengths. So we talked about it.
Yeah, going back to the cat analogy, putting this book together was a little bit like herding cats. Those of you that know mediators, I don't know if you've ever been in a room with mediators, but they're notoriously bad at actually making a decision together. They talk and talk and talk and talk. And they don't, it takes a little bit to get us to do anything. So I feel like the book process was like that. It was a privilege though. I interviewed every single author. I recorded their stories. And I did a lot of editing of those stories because I had a very clear vision of what I wanted from this book. And I wanted this book not to be for mediators or lawyers. I wanted this book to be for the ordinary everyday person. I wanted it to be for the CEO or the chair of a not-for-profit or, you know, the family that is dealing with family issues. What do we do when we find ourselves in this place? So I took those recordings of those interviews and I crafted it into something that I hope was a little bit more accessible, that had heart in the story. And I think as professionals, we often get caught up in the language of our business. And we get caught up in the words, and we forget that it's not always accessible to everybody. So it was a real interesting experience that. There was conflict. There was conflict as we go. And I loved that I had to apply my conflict resolution skills to the process of pulling this book together. I had to navigate really difficult personalities and competing needs and miscommunications or a lack of clarity and all the things that we do that we know create conflict. That was a microcosm from this book. Things not going to plan. Like today, we don't have a hard copy books here, and it would be very easy to get caught up in that, right? And that's what the message of this book is that life happens, and we have to be able to adapt and adjust and support each other forward.
Absolutely, isn't it? That's the thing, you have honoured the vision of this book, and you called in really the new respect in the industry to who may even be, be your, what's the word? Competitor.
Yes. You know what? I was very conscious of who were the people that I would love to. Some of you in this room I really wanted to with this book and it didn't work. So watch out, you guys are going to be with this.
Another
I already have a plan.
She already started planning a week ago.
Sorry, I had. So stay true. But when I thought about this, I thought about who would the people be that would align with those messages. And I'm so grateful that for those that are here, for those that are online, that they said yes. And it's been a privilege to hear their stories, and it's been a privilege to learn from them, and it's given me joy.
Did we get any insight into things like, I'd love to have been a fly in the Zoom room when you talk drinking gin, when you're talking, during COVID, because there would have been things happening during COVID, a lot of conflict, people were in turmoil really, and there was a lot to manage. You guys were being a support group for each other so that you could go out there and so you felt supported so that you could go out there and do your work.
But one of the messages that stood out for me in this book was the repetition of the issue of resilience, mental health and resilience, for us as dispute resolution practitioners, but for anyone in a leadership position, and how we held our teams, our workplaces, how we held others together through this time, and the difficult decisions that had to be made that weren't always easy decisions, and that it was necessary for us in order to survive that, to support each other, to nurture our own emotional well-being. And I think that moving beyond COVID is still impacting us. Let's not forget those lessons. We are tired. It's not going away. We've got work to do. Let's not fall back to the disconnect that was around before COVID. I guess it's a call to arms to all of us here that let's nurture those relationships and nurture ourselves so we can keep going with that work.
Let's talk about Craics and Crocodile Tears. Hacks first.
All right. So the notion of Craics and Crocodile Tears was an attempt to bring some joy to this hard topic. I wanted our authors to share some tips for you all, and they have gone above and beyond. And some of it is really about going back to basics, but some of it isn't. Some of it is just really great insights. I'm just going to flip through and randomly pick a contributor. Who have I got? Lawrence Boyle here. For those in the industry, they might know Lawrence. He is kind of like a godfather of our industry in a way. He's been around for a number of years. He's been heavily involved in shaping what we do. He talks about the importance of acknowledging, naming what's going on for you. He talks about the need to be patient. That in conflict, wherever we find, we can be rushing through, trying to get quick decisions. And it's in bringing some patience to the space that we often make wise decisions. And to be persistent, because sometimes you've just got to keep pushing. So that's really simple but powerful messages. Paul Sills from the UK talks about one of his big lessons was the importance of kindness. He really got out of this last few years how important it was to be kind to himself. And in being kind to himself, he was better able to be kind to his clients, to bring more compassion and empathy to where they found themselves in conflict. And I think those emotive lessons are really powerful as we move forward. We've got the technical skills now. It's really around how we sharpen our human skills, so the emotional intelligence and beyond.
Craics Now, crack is the Irish crack, everyone,
Yes.
C-R-A-I-C.
Oh, we had a lot of challenges with the autocorrect on this one. I can't tell you how many times we had to go back in. Cracks is really about having fun. How do you bring the fun to it? What cracks can I share? Well, apart from obviously the gin drinking connections, we had a lot of stories about things going wrong. Vikram from India talked about doing an interview with someone from Iran, actually. And in the middle of the process, I think it was using WhatsApp, it dropped out. And Vikram got to thinking, you know, I'm inspired on who is this person? I haven't done a background check. Are we caught up in conflict at a big level? What's going on? And he started to panic. And about 2 hours later, he found out that WhatsApp dropped out worldwide. And he just cracked up laughing. And here I am assuming that it's some secret problem and WhatsApp just stopped working. And, you know, it's about those moments of, oh yeah, let's keep it real that I think are really entertaining.
Give me a story.
Yes.
She's going to be assassinated.
Yeah.
Amazing. Crocodile tears, that leads beautifully into that.
I can't tell you how many crocodile tears my kids have cried over the last holidays, so we've had a few of those. But who's dealt with conflict? We've got many people in the room that are conflict practitioners, have experienced it in the workplace. There's a lot of nodding heads here. One of the interesting things you often find is that people, subconsciously or not, will try and manage a situation and manage a situation to their advantage. You know, they'll use everything they can to get the outcome that is in their interest. And sometimes that includes crocodile tears. I can't tell you the number of times I've talked to workplaces around how you manage people dynamics, those difficult performance conversations, when someone bursts into tears and it's used as a stalling tactic or an avoidance tactic of this conversation. And, you know, they're making a big deal out of something that's not really necessarily a big deal. But it's a great tactic, right? Because we're all responding to the tears. I think that it's about naming some of those challenges for each of us and working our way through it and in some ways calling it out. But calling it out with compassion and empathy and saying, hey, I know this conversation is really hard, but we still have to do it. How can I help you do that?
That's right, we're wrong. I'm a hungry.
Yeah.
We don't get through the conflict.
Yeah.
It's okay. Amazing, amazing. So this book is not just for mediators, isn't it? Who's it for?
Like I said, it was actually signed off for mediators, but I hope mediators get a lot out of it too. It was designed for people that are managing teams, that are in a position of responsibility and authority. You know, we've got a local council here, Hayley, but I know the conflicts that at local council are there. I know the conflicts are
Zero.
People often say, oh, what are you going to talk about? But guess what? Conflict is part of everything. And it's about us learning the capacity to not let fear drive those conversations. And I hope this book helps take some of that fear out and helps you say, Victoria, how can you do this? And how wonderful would that be, that we're all contributing to peacemaking and we can all make a difference from our families to our communities to our businesses to globally. And it all just takes each of us doing one thing differently.
Amazing, guys. All of you know Sarah, and I had the pleasure of knowing Sarah for 20 years in Rockingham. But it's such a pleasure to work with her in this book. I know it's going to have a ripple effect. I know it's going to have a difference in people's lives. And I know it's going to create important conversations. And we can use it as a catalyst for that. You know, everyone can use this book as a catalyst for conversations. So, and in whatever environment it is. And, you know, cover just leads to conversation itself, you know. So go grab your copy, candy books, you've got books coming in this week. Have a little look at the copies that are going around. It's beautifully, I love how it's all typeset. And this evening, tonight, we've got it going online on Amazon. We want to get it to #1. So everybody online and everybody in here, please grab your Amazon.com.au copy so you get this book to let us understand what it's there today. You can see it on our socials quite soon after this event. So congratulations, Sarah. Congratulations to all the authors here and online. We've
Big thank you to me or Jumpstart Marketing team too for the socials and again that structure. But it really was a team effort. You did some really great training for everyone. We jumped online, we had conversations,